My content is intended to be used and must be used for educational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research any information you find from my videos that you wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. All right, happy Sunday, everyone. It is Sunday, February 25th. It is exactly 3:12 p.m. when I'm recording this video, and I just got done looking at charts for the coming week. This is going to be the Sunday review. First, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. This is going to be day 3 of my trading journey, and this is what I'm going to be watching into the new week. So the new week is the week of February 26th. So let's get right into it. We're going to be going over 5 charts, and I'm going to be covering the technical. Excuse me, good lord. I'm going to be covering the technicals of all 5 of them. So let's get into the first one. The first one right here, we have Hershey's. So let's start on the higher time frames because I'm a fiend for the higher time frames. So first, I always look for the weekly and would I honestly long the weekly. So I honestly like to ask myself this question: would I long the weekly on just the line chart and the line chart alone? So what am I seeing? I'm seeing that price is recently breaking from this consolidation area and that we have a new higher low being put in on the weekly. So would I long it on the weekly? Yeah, I would. What else am I seeing on the weekly? I'm seeing a nice big volume accumulation, like volume node and the volume profile right there. So for those who don't know, the volume profile is volume where it occurs at a certain price. So it can be super useful in determining like support and resistance based on where the most volume has transaction at a certain price. So just as a quick little explanation what I'm talking about, so we see this big gray volume node right here. So we can assume that in this area, so let's say 190 to 195 is where the most volume has been occurring as of late. So big level. Let's go to the daily. What am I seeing on the daily? So I initiated this entry after we had the double bottom off of the volume profile point of control. So once again, the point of control is actually where the volume has been the most at a certain price. So if we hover over this, we see that 190.85 roughly is where we've had the most volume at a certain price level. So double bottom off the volume profile POC. I mean, that's a pretty big confirmation thing for me. So if we're supporting that point of control, then it's likely that buyers are in control, which is what I want to be on. We do have, I do like this. Let's see the 9 EMA. We are now above the 9 EMA, but let's go look at these smaller time frames to really pin down Hershey's and what we got going on. Let's turn off the volume profile. We do see that we have supply within this range. If we're just looking at the line with markers, we see that there's some clear supply within this range where found support here, rejected it here, rejected it here. So we're going to make this little zone as our supply zone. And then sometimes I like to cross-check the daily and the weekly to kind of confirm that that is a supply zone. So we do see extended volume profile node right here, so that can confirm the supply. So I do like that supply zone there. And if I was a new long, so we have our supply right there, we have our demand down here where we've seen wicks. We saw a nice hammer candle on increased buying volume right there, where likely longs that had stops likely at the bottom of these wicks got capitulated right there. So see how it wicked all the way down to 188 where it, the previous wicks had not gone to. So it's likely that people had stop losses there and got capitulated and were forced to close their positions because their stops got hit. So that was a nice stop run that should likely give us some liquidity into a position higher or price moving higher. So for new longs, I'm not fully involved yet. I do not have my full risk position. I am certainly looking for some kind of, let's see where our resistance could be. So some kind of resistance maybe on the hourly. Let's see if the daily gives us, okay, right here. So the daily's showing us resistance. See how this little notch right here in the volume. So I'm looking for some kind of break to the upside through this supply zone. I would love it for price to reject here. So reject new supply one more time, come back to this zone, and I would like a buying confirmation in this zone, that this zone which had previously acted as support, or excuse me, as resistance. So resistance, break above, new ceiling then becomes a floor. So I'd be looking for price to support that level for an entry higher, and I'd want some kind of entry back when it retests this zone after a break. So that is what I'm looking for on Hershey's this week. I do like Hershey's long. Let's talk about Hershey's long term really quick. If the weekly does close above, so our last big volume node is probably right here, and you could conservatively even say right here. If we do get a weekly close above either of these, I think we do see a nice run to like 210 on Hershey's. So that's what I'm looking for on Hershey's. Let's jump into IWM. We've been watching IWM for a few weeks now, but just to kind of recap, IWM was kind of flagging in this area for a little bit. So we had a very nice bullish price action cycle to retesting supply up here. So we can see by these rejections up here, we're into supply, and then we did close above it, and we are now retesting this, as you can see kind of on the volume profile node. Pullback was followed by a low volume pullback. We had a high volume kind of like doji candle that was completely engulfed, and then we had a very high volume weekly candle that did see sellers come back in to then force price back into demand this week. So on the daily, what am I seeing? I came into last week with the goal of adding to this position in this zone, and we got exactly that. I was a little premature. I saw this nice gap down, and it had look at zero volume. See how big of a gap down we had on here, and we had like what, zero volume. We had a nice like almost, I guess, a percent day. A percent, that is not that much, but I thought the relative sell volume on this candle was very minuscule. So we did end up buying somewhere in the bottom of this wick, and we saw a price gap down the next day on Wednesday and then fully recover. So we were able to fully add to IWM. Let's take a look at our last resistance here. So conservatively, you could say last resistance is this volume notch before we have a nice volume gap to low 215 to 220 area. Let's break this down farther. Let's go to our actual zones. So we clearly got our point of control down here at this 195, 196, 197 level, where we previously, previously had price support, come all the way through, reject it. We rejected it all throughout here, rejected again, break above, found support. So that's a huge level. If we look even closer, let's look at the hourly. We see that price has been nicely stair-stepping. Let's turn off the volume profile so it's much easier to read. Price has been stair-stepping, so price was in a bullish. So right here, it created a bullish structure because it created a lower high. See how we have our high? We created a lower high right here, and then we are bearish, continue with lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower high, and then we continued higher right here, and then that created since price took out this recent lower high right here, price became bullish on this hourly close because we took out this lower high right here. So if we look across right here, this 197.42, and we had an hourly close above the recent lower high, so that would be a bullish structure again because price failed to make another lower high. And then we saw price come back into supply. I believe it did reject. It rejected the previous day, came up into it. We did found support in previous supply, and we turned that to demand, which is great. And then we are trying to do the same. We even tested the supply zone up here, came down, rejected it, and we are trying to put in another higher low and continue higher off of this previous resistance, which should be now support. So if we draw our little line right here, should turn some kind of support right there, at least until it makes either a double top or continues higher. So watching that on IWM, I think the breakout level to watch on IWM this week, where things can get really spicy, is if we get some daily close. Like if you even get a daily close above 199.89 again, or excuse me, a daily close above like 201.06, I think this can get legs and go. I think actually probably right here 203.58, 203.59 is gonna be a huge level. So if we can get some kind of push up into these levels, then that'd be great. I think we could break out an IWM this week. Otherwise, I could see price making a short-term like double bottom. So we created this higher low right here. If we reject supply again, we could create a double bottom back in demand, which would be an A+ entry in my opinion. Create a double bottom and then continue higher to go for that run at 203.59, then maybe come back, retest it, and then we go. So that's what I'm looking for on IWM. The daily stop is the recent higher low at 197.94. So that's IWM. Let's go over to PLD. PLD, I did fully exit on PLD. I do love PLD. I've been talking about PLD for a while. I mean, this is like my fourth week in. I essentially closed it for essentially nothing. I mean, it was small profits, but I closed them in supply. This one was very interesting right up until, well, let's start with the weekly. Weekly, what am I seeing? I love me some SR flips, so I love when price rejects over here, closes above, and I always have to see a close above on high volume to tell me that's genuine buying. So see how this large green candle was associated with large green volume? That makes sense. If we're going to have that big of a candle, we'd assume to have that much of like an effort to get that result. So we had our rejections over here, we found demand over here, so I do like the SR flip on the weekly. On the daily, it has turned short-term bearish, so I'm going to actually mark right here as our last resistance before breakout right there. So it has turned short-term bearish, which is why I fully exited this position and looking for a new long on PLD. So we clearly have supply right here, and it's indicated by this demand zone. If we even go at the 4 hour, we see that the 4 hour POC is right here, and then it did actually break down on Friday. So up until Friday, this one was very tricky. I thought this was an ascending triangle, and I thought we were actually going to get a breakout here. I actually thought we were going to get a breakout up until the last few candles on Friday. Let's quickly go over it right here. So let's say we turn off this supply zone really quickly. Notice how price had yet to create a hourly close above this structure. Notice how we finally got that hourly close above structure right here at 12:30 Eastern on Friday. So we finally had that hourly close above, and you go, oh shit, we got a breakout. But it ended up, I'm going to actually pull up the ascending triangle really quick. Ascending triangle to show you what I'm talking about. So this triangle right here is what I'm talking about. It looked almost like an ascending triangle, and then that hourly close above is kind of what you can tell right here. So your hourly close above right there. But if we turn on our little simulator, we see what happens right there. Close right back below resistance, which is huge, and creates a double bottom. And then we see what happened. Price ended up confirming and closing below. So that turned in a nice ascending triangle fake breakout right into a like rising wedge look kind of. Nice double bottom on the 4 hours. So short-term bearish on PLD, but I absolutely love this name. I have no issues with this coming back. I think the big level to watch here is 130.50. 130.50 does happen to actually be my stop loss on the daily if I was still in my position, because it's the recent higher low. So I could see some kind of we'll have our bullshit right there, some kind of double bottom before continuing higher. But clear supply, this 130.50. I just don't think real estate was ready yet as a sector as a whole. I think I was early on PLD, but didn't really bite the bullet for it because saw some short-term profits realized, and then probably I'm just going to get a better entry overall on this name. So I'm looking for some kind of maybe gap fill down to 130.50. I mean, this area has been massive for a while. Support, breakthrough, rejections, found support, and we have yet to come back and test that 130.50 before another supply run. So I'm looking for a break. I'm looking for some kind of bearish break down into this zone, some kind of double bottom on maybe the hourly or 4 hour before it continue higher, before we finally take out the supply. I swear to God, it's been what? I mean, we ran at it here. What, 6 times we tested supply on the daily and had yet to break it? I mean, there's no shot we don't break it on the next attempt. So, yeah, that's PLD. No position right now. I'm looking for it. I really like PLD long, but that is PLD. Let's talk about Tesla really quick. Not TSL. Let's talk about TSLA. Tesla, I am in Tesla. I got caught a little bit with an early entry here, as I'm sure many people did. I thought the volume gap between the right here was going to be enough for this candle to just kind of like chug on through. But quickly what we realized is that this candle had an insane amount of volume for how small it was. If you notice, I mean, look at the previous 5 candles, and none of them were as big a volume as this red one. We did see a nice bullish engulfing on the daily, which is great. And then right now, if we replay this, we are seeing declining volume on this pullback. So that is nice. I think this is a nice like little triangle forming or some kind of flag some kind of wedge where I think we do break to the upside. I've been seeing a lot of bearish Tesla charts over this weekend. I just don't think the sellers are going to be strong enough to push past this demand zone. So I do think, speaking of, I think my stop loss would be a 4-hour close below 189.16 is what I'd be looking for. 4 hours close below demand is what, I mean, price could just as easily, I mean, it probably will, it honestly probably will screw everyone, gap down to here, and then close higher. And then it'll probably do that. Close higher, and then we go to like 210 before I'll probably exit. But that's what I'm looking for on Tesla. Kind of a shorter term play. I do like this declining volume on the pullback, and I don't think it's anything of concern. Position for like middle of March, but we do have our inverted head and shoulders still intact. I think I just got caught with a little bit of maybe poor entry, maybe jumped the gun a little bit, maybe should have taken profits short term, but I still like this position. So that's what I'm looking for on Tesla. Not even gonna show the weekly. I do think this is going to be eventually a larger bear flag right back into supply, like right here, before it eventually rejects down and then maybe makes a double bottom and demand down here. I just don't think it's long term ready yet, but short term I do think it's bullish. That is Tesla. What else do we have? Tesla, PLD, IWM. We covered. Have we covered Boeing? I believe we covered Hershey's first, so I think we need to cover Boeing. So what am I seeing on Boeing? I think I'm just going to pull up my Twitter here just because I have it already drawn. So what are we seeing on Boeing? We saw that this stop right, or this low right here is, I'm sure, where a lot of people had their stop losses. So I think that a lot of people probably were forced to capitulate when we saw the, like, I think an hourly close happened down here, and then the 4-hour ended up wicking all the way back into the falling wedge. So I do like this because I think this is a very tight falling wedge, and I want you to notice that, look at these last 3 candles in the falling wedge. So notice how each one of them, the spread's getting smaller. So the difference between the open and the close, so the spread, the like actual like candle part of the candlestick, the actual spread is getting smaller as the volume is increasing. So I think that's a big sign that there could be a reversal coming. But also on the earnings, we saw high volume, low volume pullback, and then we saw a nice hammer candle on increased volume on the 4-hour. So, and then the gap did get filled. But I'm looking for Boeing. I'm looking for maybe some kind of wedge pop to 212 before coming back down to demand, and then I'll probably enter my long there. But no position on Boeing. We are in Hershey's. We are in IWM. We are in Tesla. We are not in PLD looking for entry. We are not in Boeing looking for entry. But that's what I got on the top 5 things that I'm watching for this week. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate every one of you. This is a very exciting series that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, very excited. Thank you for watching.